Okay, today we're going to be talking about this weed eater. I found this weed eater on the side of the road. A neighbor of mine put it out to be trash. I found it, I picked it up, I figured, hey, let's take a look at it, see if we can get it to work. I've already fired it up. The engine runs great. The only problem with this weed eater right now is the head just barely spins, and if you try to cut grass with it, it won't do anything. Basically, the grass stops it from cutting. So I'm going to show you how we could troubleshoot this. I will say there's 4 things that we need to look at in troubleshooting this. One of them is you want to make sure that the throttle cable, which is right here, is attached correctly. So when you squeeze the trigger right here, that the throttle does work. So make sure that that's there. There's also a clutch behind here. We're going to take a look at the clutch. And then also there's a long cable in this shaft, and you want to make sure that that cable is not broken. And then also the last piece is going to have to deal with the head itself, and there's some gears in this head, and we're going to take a look at that. Okay, the fact that we could actually see the head rotating at all tells me that inside this shaft, that long cable is not broken. So I think we could be safe in saying right now, without even looking at it, that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the cable. So the problem, I think, now is going to be in the head, or it's going to be in the clutch. So we're going to take off the clutch area and take a look at that, and we're going to see what we could do. Now just to show you, I bought a head. It already comes with the top and then the gearbox on it as well. And this piece was $30 for this. So that really isn't that much. I also bought a clutch thinking I might have to do that. The clutch itself, I think that was about $10. And it really consists of only about 4 parts. You can see there's like a bell housing right here. There's the clutch itself that's spring loaded. There's a big washer, and then there's a little washer. This is actually really simple to do. The only hard part about a clutch at all is there's usually a really small little screw in there. I think it's usually a hex screw that you have to have something really small and long to get through that shaft to take it out. So we're going to look at the clutch, see what's going on with that, and then we'll see which one of these we need to replace. Okay, so I'm going to take off this housing right here. This is actually a T15 star wrench. We're going to go ahead and try that right now. I know because I've already checked, but this is the right one. So there's, I think, 4 screws here. I'll take a look real quick. There's one here, and one here. So there's actually 3. All right, we're going to go ahead and get those 3 taken off, and then we're going to see what it looks like. Okay. And this is what it looks like inside there. You can see the cable is right now attached. You just want to pull that out, and you can see there's the piece. That's the clutch. And it actually looks like somebody recently replaced it. All right, so we're going to try to start this and see what the clutch looks like. So I'm going to hold this little tab here and pull start it, and we'll see what the clutch does. Now what should happen is at idle, the clutch should not move, and then when we use the throttle cable and give it some throttle, the clutch should move, because that's when it engages. Okay, looks fine. It did not actually stop turning on its own, but if I can put my hand down there and it doesn't turn, then that means the clutch is not actually engaged. The throttle's a little high. I probably need to fix that on the carburetor, so that's really not any problem with the clutch itself. So we're going to go ahead and put the rest of this together, and then we're going to move on to the other side of the weed eater. So I think the clutch is fine. I think that the cable's fine because we saw that the end did work. So we're going to go ahead and put this back together. Make sure that you take this piece and you put it back into the end here, and you can see it's a square, so it should go in there pretty easy. So we're going to put that back together, and then we're going to put the screws back in, and then we're going to go look at the head of the weed eater. Alright, so on this side, it actually uses a, what is this, a T25 star socket. So I've already loosened this side. Basically all you have to do is just loosen probably these four. Really just those two ought to do it. And then you want to take this one out. This one, of course, is not the same size, so we're going to have to get that one. This one is the T15 that we had where we did the housing of the unit up there. So you take this out. This one can come all the way out, it doesn't really matter. And then you should be able to just pull it right off. And you can see there's our little square piece right there. Don't pull it out because you'll end up pulling it out of the other side. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. You can see here's the unit right here. We're going to look inside there, and if you spin this head around, that square should move. And you can see it's not moving at all. And I'll show you the difference. Okay, I'm going to get the new one. Here's the new one. Now if I spin this, you can see no matter how little I turn it, that turns. And you can see if I turn it fast, that turns. So that tells me that the gears inside this gearbox on this old one right here are bad. And we'll probably open that up and take a look at it. But to fix our problem, all we really have to do is make sure that that square lines up with the end right here. Put it back together. And then put the screws back in place. And we should be all set. I'm having trouble lining up the screws. I'll get it eventually here. Or I'm having trouble lining up the square head. We'll get it. I think we're on there now. Alright, and then what you want to do, in this case, I want to put my screw in here, here, and then I want to put that in to tighten it. Make sure that all your holes are lined up. So we're going to do that right now, and then we're going to come back, we're going to start it and see how it works. Alright, we're going to try to fire it up and see if our weed eater works. So let's see what happens here. You can see that was the problem. Everything's working great. We're going to go ahead and open this old one and take a look at the gears. Alright, so let's take a look, see what everything looks like in here. That's what it looks like. You can see they just barely come together and they've been worn down, so that's definitely where our problem is. So I'm just going to throw this thing in the trash because I don't need this, and I think we're ready to go. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped you. If it did, please give us a thumbs up, maybe even subscribe. Check out our other videos. Thanks.